Hi guys, it's Becky, and just a little while ago I opened up a order from Bead Box Bargains where I got their Autumn River bundle, and in that were these gorgeous peacock tiger eye beads in 10, 8, and 6 millimeters. And I pulled some of these out during my organization um, video so that I could make something with them. So that's what this video is we're going to make something with them. Also, I pulled out these check glass leaves that are top drilled with a hole right there in the top. There you go, that's better. I pulled some of these out because I am planning on them being some dangles that we hang from our little pendant on this, and I haven't decided if I'm going to use these freebies that came with that order that Bead Box Bargains sent me, or if I'm going to use these emerald green crystals that came with the bundle. I haven't decided on that yet, but I did pull out some of these leaf bead caps and a couple of these. I haven't decided if I'm going to use them or not. I probably will, just so that we've got a little more than just this for alternate colors besides the blue and green. But in my order, I had also ordered some toggle clasps, and the toggle clasps included these antique bronze ones, which goes with the antique bronze color of those. I had some of this chain in my stash. It's antique bronze, so we're going to hang our pendant from that. I've got some jump rings for handling that, and I've got some 20 gauge vintage bronze craft wire for us to do our pendant with. For shaping of the pendant, I'm going to be using mostly my fingers, but also these 6-step bail making pliers, because I'm going to be making a couple of loops and I want them to have consistent sizing as I'm making them. And we're going to be using some of my tweezer nose pliers. I found it. And that's just for tucking things in, for opening and closing jump rings, and for doing all that. And we've got some flush cutters for cutting wire. So those are the tools that I'm going to be using with this endeavor. So let me move them out of the way so they're not taking our focus. And basically what I want to do is, I don't know if you remember when I made the series of bracelets from the plumage box, when I was making this wirework bracelet, I got a few beads in and I said this would make a fantastic pendant. And so that's what I'm going to be doing with these beads and the vintage bronze wire, is we're going to be doing a braided pendant. But as we're braiding on the lower end, I'm going to twist the wire around so that it makes a loop at the bottom. And it will be graduated beads instead of all the same ones, and it won't be a bracelet. So I'll link to this video if you didn't get a chance to see it in my comments. I will link to my unboxing video so you can see all the other contents of that bundle that I got. It was version 1 of the bundle. And otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get some of these guys out of camera shot so that we're not going too crazy with that. And I'm going to move these out of the way. I will figure out the dangles when I get there. So let's zoom in a little bit to where we are with these and pull off some of our 20 gauge wire. Now this is colored copper wire. And I am just, before I start doing anything, I'm just going to verify that all of these beads will fit on the 20 gauge wire. Because if any of them have holes that are too small or something like that, I'm going to want to switch back down to a 22 gauge wire for this. There we go. And this peacock tiger eye is gorgeous. I am so glad I got this in this box. All right, so let's see if these will fit in here. Perfect. Let's make sure these fit. Yes. These fit. And these fit. Perfect. All right, now I'm happy. 20 gauge is going to work for us. I'm going to pull off about 8 inches for one strand, and this is going to be like far bigger than we want it to be, but it's going to have a lot of curves on it. Actually, maybe 9 inches. Let's do 9 inches. And I'm guesstimating on this, by the way, but it feels like 9 inches to me. All right, so let's cut that off, and then I'm going to want twice the length of this. So I'm going to, so when we do the braids, we've got one that's one length, and then the next wire is going to be twice that length. So one, I'm going to move this down here, pull this off of here, and two. So now they are both the same length. Or sorry, one is twice the length than the other one is. Okay, so the one that is twice the length, I'm going to bring these two up at the top, straighten them out a little bit, and hold right here at the bottom so that I've found the middle. I'm just going to straighten these with my fingers, each of these ends, while I'm holding on to my middle, since I found it. Because it's just going to make this, if I get most of these kinks out and I warm up this wire, it's going to make it a lot easier to work with. So let me just do the same thing with this one, my shorter one. So I'm setting my shorter one aside. And for my longer one, I am going to take my bail making pliers and I'm going to make a loop. Now, I think I want to use, on my bail making pliers, I think I'm going to want to use my second loop. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to use my second loop for this. We'll make, so I'm going to bend my wire around my loop. I'm going to cross them in front of each other. Sorry, I have to move this so that it will actually fit on my desk. So they're crossed like that, and I've got myself a loop. I'm going to hold onto this loop, and I'm going to bend my wire like a 90-degree angle this way. And I'm going to bend the wire right next to it so that they are snug as a bug and buddies. I want them to be right next to each other, and I am getting in the way of my camera. So I'm trying to maneuver this so that it's not hitting that. All right, that's gonna be good enough for me. Let's get a sharper bend in that, a little bit sharper bend. Now I'm gonna just smoosh these together so they're right next to each other, because I'm gonna be wrapping around this with the other wire. This is how I began it on the other, on my right here for this, if you recall. And this came undone, so I'm just gonna hook that up again. So I'm not going to be doing a hook on the other side. I'm going to be doing another loop on the other side. But when we get to that, we'll get to that, because this is going to be like kind of a bar pendant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my shorter wire, now that I've got my longer wire folded in half and a loop in the middle. I'm going to take my shorter wire, I'm going to pinch it right on here where these two are next to each other, and I'm going to start bending this around both of those on this shorter end here. It's pretty close to the end of this. And this is incredibly messy. So I am going to go grab my pliers. I'm going to tighten this up. All right. Now, squish these loops together so they're closer together. Now I want to tighten them up a little bit more. Both sides. And this can slip down and up until I get it totally tightened. So I'm gonna give myself a little bit of room there. Get these guys smushed together, and I'm just gonna work hard in this loop by tamping down a little bit with my pliers. Pull this around. Give it another little smoosh. And I'm going to cut off my excess. Tuck this end in. All right, so now I'm just going to bend this down carefully around here to the bottom. So now I have my 3 lengths of wire, and they are approximately the same length. And now I'm going to add a bead and braid. This is similar to the other video that I showed you. The first bead, we're not going to add an extra loop to, so I can put it on here. I can take this top wire, bend it down between these two, take the bottom wire and bend it up like that. Just going to scooch this a little closer. Gonna try and decide what's the top and what's the bottom. This is already curved this way, so this might be the bottom of my thing and this might be the top, and that's fine because all I have to do is make that decision before I get to my second bead, which is this one. It's gonna sit right here. And if I do the second bead, actually, let's just straighten it out and we'll bend it as we need it for the rest of it. So I'm going to bend this over the top like that. And then for the second bead, before I bend this up, I'm going to make myself a little loop, and I'm going to use the first step in my bail making pliers for my loop. Bend it along here first. Now, go ahead and grab this and bend this back around. Keep it going. I'm going to rotate this a little bit so that it is not in the way. This whole thing is a little bit funky. That's okay. I can pull that tight. And I can rotate this loop if I need to. But for right now, that's my loop. Okay, let's tighten that up. All right. So I've got my loop, and I'm just gonna turn this a little bit more this way, and then bend that back there. All right. You can do this with 18 gauge wire too. I'm just choosing 20 gauge because it can be a little more. I'm pinching all 3 of these, by the way, to keep this from rotating too much. I just want it to be up against my bead a little bit more. Ugh, my loop is terrible. There we go. Whew. right. Now, the wire that I just made my loop with is now my middle wire, and I'm going to put my third bead on that. The wire that was above it is now the bottom wire. I'm going to make another loop on that. First, I'm going to bring this top loom down. We're going to try the same thing here with this second loop. All right. I just want it to cross over and then keep going around. And you know what? I'm gonna make this loop a little bit better. All right, here we go. Holding the loop and helping it bend a little bit with my finger. Okay. Maybe not. This loop is weird. You know what? Let's get the rest of this braided and then I'll readjust my loops then. But now we've got the steps up and I've got one more loop that I'm going to be adding on the bottom of this on my fourth bead, and I will not be doing a loop for my fifth bead. So again, we pull down the top, bend that over nicely, and futz around with these loops. All right. And again, we'll tighten up the loops after I get my third or my last. Actually, no, the loops don't look too bad. I don't like the way this is twisted, so I'm gonna definitely fix it. But we'll do that after we get this finished. All right, so now we've got our third bead. I'm gonna cross this one over, bring the bottom one up, and I'm going to do, let's see, 2 wraps with this bottom one around this center. It's the one that the bead was on. Cut that off. I'm going to tighten this up quite a bit. All right, and then this one is going to be right next to it. I don't want a lot of wraps on it either. Just trying to end this one. And now I can make a loop on the other end. Just bending this way so that it'll hang like that. All right, let's make ourselves a little loop. I'm gonna actually bend it right there where the where this is so that I can have the loop, the wraps kind of cover these other wraps. And I'm using the second largest step on my bail making pliers, so it is the same size of loop as the other side. I am just going to wrap around while I have this on my guy. It's a little bit messier than this side, and I'm okay with that. Alright, let's tuck our end in. Alright, now let's fix these loops. I want this to stay smiley like this. These loops are a little bit awkward. So now I'm holding onto the bead, I'm pressing on the loop, and I'm pressing against the bead in order to get a nicer loop on that. I'm going to do the same with this, kind of rotate it if I need to. Press it against the bead. It's still an awkward loop. Well, let's try this bigger loop, see if that'll get us a bigger, better, rounder. Yes. And then this one, these two are a little more tamed, what I would like for a loop. And this one needs it, so I'm going to grab just going to go around it and twist it a little bit. There we go. So these are much rounder, much nicer. Look at that cat eye. It's gorgeous. All right, so this is the basis of my pendant. Now I need to create some drops to go down on there. So, going to use, again, this antique bronze. But first, I'm going to take a little break. All right, break's over. So let's grab some of this antique bronze colored craft wire. And I don't know if this is going to be enough, too much. It's about 3.5 inches, 4 inches. I don't know. Let's get these two at an even amount. All right, so we're going to start with the bottom and then stack beads up from the leaf. So for these leaves, I'm going to want probably a loop because I want them to still be able to have a dangle. This loop might be big enough, but won't give a lot of things. So we're going to go with the third step up. And I'm going to just do a simple loop on these, not a wrapped loop. So I'm going to go all the way around here till it's touching. And then I'm going to bend it back to make a simple loop. I'm just gonna make sure this closes. Give this a little tamp, tamp, tamp to work hard in it. Now I'm going to open it and put my leaf on there. There we go. This will make a real nice dangle. So that size does give it a little bit of movement. That's great. And then we want to be able to pile some beads on top of there. So let me do the same thing for my other 3 leaves with these guys. Start with a flush end, the 3rd step up. I'm just going to pull this around until it is touching it. Oh, I said until it's touching it, but it's not touching it yet. So let's just keep going. There. A lot of people bend first and then, what's the word? Curl. So you do break the neck first. But I don't know where to bend the neck on this. So I'm doing the curve first, and then at the part where it meets that's where I'm adding the bend. Tamp this down, get it a little bit work hardened. So I've got a really, really nice little circle. All right, let's add a leaf, and I'm going to do that again for the next one. I'm going to deal with the curvature of the wire versus the straightness of the hole through this leaf. But it does give some room for dangle. And that's what I wanted. All right, next one, same thing. 3rd step down. And we're going to bring this, whoop. That made that very not straight. This is very, very dead soft wire. Let me tell you. There we go. I'm going to bring this over here to the other one so it lands there. All right, and now open it to the side like that and add my last leaf. Closed. And now I'm going to figure out how I want my dangles to go. No, sir, you must be closed. Maybe I should have done wrapped loops. It's fine though. I don't think they're going anywhere. All right, now, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm gonna grab these bead caps, stick that on down here, put the melon on, see how that looks. Melon singly, maybe. Maybe another bead cap and one of these apricot colored beads. Yeah, I like that. I think that's going to work really, really well. So I'm going to do another simple loop up here at the top. So right here at the top of this, I'm going to bend it towards me. I'm going to use the smaller, bend it back here. Now I'm going to cut off right here. So that my simple loop will close. And that is going to be my dangle. All right, I'm going to make 2 more of these. And turns out I'm not using these emerald beads. but I did not grab enough of the apricot beads, so I'm going to pull one out. There you go. On this side. All right, let's get this constructed. All right, so bead cap, melon, bead cap, apricot bead. Come on, buddy, all the way through. And I think when I make some earrings to go with this, oh, I only got 4 of these. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Because I have other, that's what I can use the emerald beads for. Because they're smaller, but they're almost the same color. All right, so let's bend this towards me. Let's do this one over here. We've got bead cap, melon bead, bead cap, apricot bead. All right. Bend this towards me. Cut off my excess. And close it. Maybe I should have gone for a bigger loop on my lower dangle. It's fine though. It's fine. It'll all be okay. Whoop. Or a closed loop. Because this is coming open just a little bit. I'm gonna pinch it real quick to get it closed better. And that actually removes a lot of the dangle, but that's fine. Just gonna pinch this, close it. So I don't want the bead cap sliding down there. All right, now jump rings and chain. Again, I'm gonna just cut the chain about there. It works for me. Now I'm gonna find the midpoint of the chain. Do that by sliding a link on one of these and holding it up. All right, midpoint of the chain is this link right here at the bottom. So I am going to snip that link. And I have 2 equal lengths of chain. All right, let's get these hooked on this. Sometimes I have really good ideas. Look at that. I'm just really pleased with how this is turning out. It was just an idea. I hadn't like mocked it up yet or anything, or tried to. It's just an idea. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Let's get some chain on here. I've got my jump ring, this loop, and one end of my chain. I need to close it, so let's use these to hold on to the other side in the most awkward way possible. All right, jump ring's closed. Oof. All right, second chain, jump ring. These are pretty big jump rings. I don't think I need to hold the other end. I can just move it like that. And now let's get our closure on. Jump ring. And this textured antique bronze ring for a toggle clasp. Here's the toggle. Connect it to the chain. All right. I say the chain is from my stash, but it actually came in one of the bargain bead boxes that I got, I think, last year. So basically everything except for my craft wire came from the bargain bead box at some point or another, or Bead Box Bargains. But there we go. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see the full impact, and it will dangle like that. So I do have a little dangle, a little bit of dangle on this necklace. Yeah, I'm gonna make some matching earrings. I will do that off camera though, that go with this. And this is on backwards. No, it wasn't on backwards. It just twisted backwards. Okay. So there we go. Beautiful. Love the autumn colors. Autumn River bead bundle with the tiger eye, the peacock tiger eye. And that actually worked really well. Anyway, thanks for hanging with me. Happy beading, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.